If you're an ex-Christian, you know that there are some difficult things that you have to face as someone who is in a relationship with someone who really believes heavily. And these are things that I don't think I was really prepared for when I decided to leave religion. Welcome to part 2 of the Interfaith and Marriage series. If you did not see part 1 yet, make sure that you click right up above and check that out before you come to this one. Before I left Christianity, my husband and I both had similar things in common when it came to our religion. Naturally, we're very opposite. We don't have a whole lot in common outside of religion. So I think for me, that's a lot of the challenge, is the fact that religion was something that we did see eye to eye with most of the time, not all the time. When I left Christianity, which was not too long ago, I realized that there were some things that I had to face, some things that I had to go about in a different way. For instance, my conversations with my husband, we can only talk but so much about religion. He gets very into it because he's very passionate about his beliefs, and there's nothing wrong with that. When someone's real passionate about something, they believe it so wholeheartedly. The problem comes when you don't see the same things in the same way. Now, when it comes to talking about certain things, I have to be careful with what I say, and I have to be careful with how much I can take in. How much can I really take when it comes to talking about religion? My outlook on life is totally different than my husband's outlook on life. My views and my perception of things and the way that things go on in life and in the world today is very, very opposite and different from the way my husband's views and perceptions are. You don't realize it until you get into the conversation with your spouse. You may believe in one thing and they may believe that you're wrong, and they may see it as a negative thing, whereas you may see it as a good thing, because now you feel like you're more opened up to different things and different beliefs and different possibilities, or maybe you don't believe in anything at all. Here's one example that you may face. One for me is that I believe that God and religion are two separate things. I don't think that God and religion are one and the same, whereas my husband believes that God and religion is basically one thing. He actually doesn't think that Christianity is a religion. I feel that God is more than the Bible, whereas my husband feels that the Bible is from God. That's the perfect word from God, and that's our guide for life. My guide for life is me, and that sounds horrible to say to someone who's a Christian. Another example, there may be other truths. I don't believe that Christianity is the one and only truth. I think that, of course, it could be a possibility, but my being agnostic deist, I believe that maybe that could be it, or maybe there could be something else. My husband being a devout Christian, he doesn't believe that there are any other truths. He thinks that Christianity is the only number one truth. Me believing that there may be some other truths, or maybe some truth that has nothing to do with God, possibly, is not something that's very easy for me to come to terms and to accept 100% right away off the bat. I've always only believed that Christianity was a one true religion, the one true way to heaven. And so now with everything changing, it's like changing your diet. It's like going from eating nothing but junk food, and then now you don't eat any junk food, you don't eat any meat, kind of like a vegan. It's a huge shift. The last example I have for this is that morality, to me, is not something that comes from religion. I believe that religion can help influence morality, of course, without a doubt. But I also have seen people who are religious and their morality is not higher, and it's not high at all. Some of them have like no morality almost whatsoever. So when it comes to my spouse, he believes that morality of Christians are a little bit higher in a sense than those who are non-Christians. And he feels like because he's a Christian and he does work very hard to follow the doctrine right, he believes that his beliefs and the doctrine influence him and help him to not want to fall into any sort of temptation, or to not feel like it's okay to do certain things, whereas other people who are considered worldly are like, hey, we can do this if we want to. I believe that Just because you're not religious doesn't mean that you don't have morals. That's for one. And in a sense, I feel like my morals are a little higher now than it was when I was a Christian, because before when I was a Christian, I kind of felt like it was us versus them. I kind of saw myself being better and in the light, and everyone else was in the dark, and I'm so lucky because I'm saved. And now I feel like we're all people. We all have a right to follow our own path. No one can tell us how to live it or how to live in our truth or what our truth is. My husband supports me. He's very loving, but he doesn't support certain things about what he would call my lifestyle. For example, this video, this channel, because I am not telling people that they need to be a Christian or telling people that they should go to God, I'm in his eyes considered someone who is helping people stray, and I'm not doing God's work. So he doesn't support whatever doesn't fit to what he believes to be as doing God's work. There are certain things he will support me with, like I know he wants to see me succeed, but because I'm not doing God's work, or I'm not, as he says, using my talents for God, he doesn't support it 100%. So he won't try and stop me, but he's not gonna throw a celebration for me. That could be something for you. Maybe your spouse may not be super happy with what you're doing. For instance, you might be writing a book about atheism or how you came to atheism or agnosticism, and your spouse is probably like, no, what the hell are you writing a book about that for? Remember, it's two opposing views. These are just some of the examples of how things can kind of be a little funny. And this is not to say that my examples are exactly what you're going to experience or what you are experiencing. It depends on you, and it depends on your spouse and type of dynamic and relationship that you both have. Lastly, your spouse may see you in the way that other people who are a part of religion see you. That might hurt a little bit. So, for instance, I don't give a crap what anyone thinks about me. What people say about me behind my back is not my business, but I do care what my husband thinks of me. I do care how he feels about me. So, your spouse may tell you that you're living in the dark, or you're avoiding the truth, you're denying God, you left God. When I say truths, I'm not saying that the things that they're saying are truths, but the hard truth of this entire video is that your spouse and you are not going to see eye to eye in the very beginning when you leave. I mean, I'm still in the beginning stages, so I don't know how long this is going to last, but you are going to see that your spouse may say things, may feel a certain way, may respond to certain things a certain way, may act a certain way, and it's going to be hard for you to deal with. You just have to kind of figure out and learn for yourself, how can we work our way around this so our marriage doesn't fail? I wish I could tell you guys exactly how to make it work, because honestly, it would be nice if there was like a book and we knew for a fact that we read this book and did everything it said, that everything was going to work out perfectly. But that's just a part of life. Life is a journey. I'm all about the here and now. My suggestion, stick with the here and now and don't worry about the future. Don't worry, are we going to last? Are we going to make it? Just try to make it now and try to make every day count and try to do the best that you can and try not to be hard on yourself, because you have other people to do it for you anyway. So that is part 2 of the Interfaith Marriage series. Stick around with me, and next week I'll be uploading part 3 of the series, where I'll be talking about the problem with marrying someone just for religious faith. Something that happens often. People get together, they're both Christians, they're like, yes, the world has been created around our destiny and we are meant to be together because we're both Christians. I'm gonna speak about the issues with believing that in part 3.